Hello friends, welcome back to my channel The Nature and the Wild. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic in the wildlife photography. So wildlife photography is not only about finding the right gear or the right animal. It's also about the composition of your images. Because if you compose the image in a right way, a simple ordinary image can look like a masterpiece. So grab your gears and come with me. In next 10 minutes we are going to discuss how these compositions will work. Let's bring the balance, the contrast, the emotions into your wildlife images. So guys, the composition is basically how you arrange elements in your frame. It is the difference between a snapshot and a photograph. So guys, the composition is basically how you position or arrange the image or the subject inside your image. So it can be presentable, or it should look good, or it should tell a proper story about the whole image without asking for it. In the wildlife photography, you often don't control the subject. They move fast, unpredictable, and they just disappeared in a second. So that's why understanding the right composition to get those fast moving those subjects right into the image frame. So guys, let's start with the classic rule of third. What does it mean? Imagine you have a picture and that picture is divided into 9 lines, 2 horizontal and 2 vertical lines. Just place your image along to the lines like I did it on the screen. The bird's head is on the second line, which is a vertical, and the body is just between 2 horizontal lines. More balanced and way more natural into the composition. This kind of images are very good when you are trying to take a portrait image of the subject. This is the first basic rule. Let's take another example. Now, the next type of composition is aligned with the line of third. So, imagine this is your first, second, and this is the third half of the image. When I took the picture, I make sure that I have enough space in front of the bird. So when I put him inside my frame on the aligned to the line of third, I get a natural image, and there is a lot of space left which can give a dramatic movement to the picture. So when you take picture, you also have to think about the compositions, how we're going to place it, because you cannot do everything in the editing. So during the right time of taking the picture, you need to compose your frame inside your mind. That's exactly what I did, and I get this lovely picture. So if I show you the processed one, that's definitely very appealing. So look at that image. And this kind of decision you have to make very quickly during the real photo shoot time, because these birds are very erratic and dynamic, so you cannot just think how to put that. So you already have a frame in your mind, and you just point your camera towards the subject and take the image. So guys, the next one is the negative space. So that means you have to keep your subject aligned to the lines in a way that you have ample space left outside the frame. Whether you are focusing on the subject, but leaving up this space will also create a lot of intensity and questions into the viewer's mind, like what is happening. So, and it also gives the idea about the atmosphere in that scenario you take the picture. Another image to justify the same thing. So when you have negative space around the subject, that's create a lot of curiosity. So here you can already see, and if you see the picture, definitely there will be a question. What the bird is doing there? What is happening around? It's in a jungle or it's in the porch. So this kind of thing create the dramatic scenarios inside your images. The next positioning of your image, I called it space for movement. Why? Because if in your image you leave the space for the subject to move, that gives a very nice sign to the viewer, and they understand that this subject is about to move, or it's about to leave the frame, or what will be the next step for the bird. That generates a lot of curiosity inside the mind, and that gives a very nice perspective to your image. So look at the full image. This image has a lot of space and a lot of movement space for the subject. So if I just move it like this and crop it a little bit, now doing that or allowing that it will give your photo a sense of motion and an anticipation, like the animal is about to leave the frame or move somewhere else. So guys, the next composition method is my personal favorite. I called it reflections. Whenever you are trying to take a picture and if you have options to have water in front of it and the subject is just top of it or beside of it and it has a nice reflection in the water, always try to capture the subject and the reflection together. This little woodpecker is trying to drink the water from the small pond, and while I was sketching it, I had a clear in my mind I'm going to put it in the middle of the frame, not on the third line or the first line. Just isolate the image from the background. So these are unprocessed image, but you can see how beautiful the image is looking and is creating the nice harmony with the background and the foreground and with the subject. So the next composition method I called face to face or symmetrical. So that means your camera and the face of the animal or the subject is aligned together. A nice sense of the image, and it's basically a portrait image that gives a nice compositions that you are really focused on to your subject. So let's try something. So if you can see in this image, I have cropped the image in such a way that my camera aligned with the face of the subject. That's create a nice posture from the subject and also isolate the background from it and also make it sure that there is a nice story going behind it. The intensity of the image is another level. The next framing is most we always do. I called it a cropping. So cropping is also an art. So you need to understand how to crop your image. You should not over crop it or you should not less crop it. So keeping in mind, you are trying to take an image of example as this bird, the small chiffchaff has a small beach in its mouth. So I wanted to take this picture and I wanted to make it as a portrait and try to make sure that all the focus lies on the subject itself. The focus should not go any negative or positive space. So this is the negative space and this is the positive space, which is your subject. So when I crop it, the image, it automatically gives me a nice portrait like that. So after I crop it, you can look at that image has less space left and the subject is completely popped up with some space in the front and some space in the back. So, and this is a nice portrait image of the bird. So cropping is very well known and you guys should know how to crop your image to give it the nice shape. So guys, the next composition method I called tell a story. If you look at the image, what's come in your mind? This image is, when I captured this image, you see the light coming behind all the dried leaves. I keep it as an isolated background and the subject is dripping in the water. It was sunny, it was hot and it was taking a shower in the afternoon. So that kind of story, and that's make the instant shot of all the water drippings falling out. So that the bird was very, very thirsty. It was jumping over the water and suddenly it just dripped in and it started having a bath in the water. So then all the waters comes out. And at the time I took the picture. So always keep in mind a story, what your image should tell. So guys, I hope you like this video. So next time when you're out in the wild, just don't think about the picture itself. Just think about the compositions, the light, the color, the balance, how the image will look like on your computer. Everything you need to do on your camera at the same time by thinking it within a fraction of seconds. So I hope all these tips and tricks will help you and to understand the right compositions of your images according to the subject. If you like it, please like, share and subscribe my channel, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Thank you.